Welcome back to another Roll for Crit podcast. I'm Jonathan Estes.
And I'm Will Keeler, and it's that sad time of the year when it's ending. So we're going to look back on 2015 and some of our favorite games we played that were released then, not just in general.
Right, and so we have actually arranged a list, each of us, of 5 games in particular that we consider to be our personal favorites of the year.
I would like to say a few amendums for us and for viewers before they get very angry at our list.
I know one right off the bat.
I'm sure there are certain games you'll be very angry with if we didn't list, but we might not have had the chance to play them.
Well, I think right off the bat we should say we have not been able to play Pandemic Legacy.
Yeah, that's definitely
which has topped a lot of people's lists or been very close to. So
yeah, every
right
copy
away.
is sold out before we could even.
And even if we haven't even had time to. So.
We're lucky we got these in.
Yeah, so that's not on the list.
You know something else I found very funny that I felt really bad about?
Neither is Seven Wonders Duel. Go on.
I got a lot of Kickstarters in like the last week. I'm like, I won't get to play you and mention you.
I know we haven't get to play Ghostbusters either. That's the one I'm kind of disappointed about. But we'll get to the ones we didn't get to play and didn't have on our list. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna go
back and forth for
backsies, forthsies, and I'm curious. I don't know how you think. We'll feel about each other's list. Some of the crossover will be.
I know you can predict some of mine, I bet.
I can predict at least one.
Yes.
Which might be, I don't know, if I would think it's maybe be your number one.
It's not. If it's the one I think. I'll start off.
Okay.
My number 5 is Operation Faust. While you may have seen us play this in 2014, this actually came out officially in 2015.
The actual retail copy.
And I felt this game just really holds up as a really fun, bluffing game in World War II that isn't just, oh, look, it's another shooter. I played this with my family, with friends. Everyone's loved it. My family in particular, I played it with people who happen to be history buffs, and they really thought this was a really cool idea. I know I played it with you, and we loved the idea. We've always said how we enjoyed, while we've seen the market starting to be flooded with the traitor or hidden role mechanic. I think this does a good job without having the elimination, so even the person who's lost all their money or something can still get back in it.
I'm 100% with you. That is not on my list, but I love that game, and I think I backed it and own it, and I think that I think the remarkable thing is I think I actually like it a little more than Coup, which is basically its cousin in terms of explaining.
No, I would actually agree with you there.
I think it actually improves upon Coup in a few ways that push it over the edge for me. Which should tell people a lot, because a lot of people probably played Coup, but it seems like a lot.
No, if you like Coup, you really should pick this up, because I think they're both very good together.
Yeah.
Because while Coup does the player eliminate, it's much more sniping your opponent. This one's much more strategical with your art pieces. Since you're not really out of the game, you're collecting the art. So I think they actually...
And much more thematic.
That's what I think, but I think that's what's nice, though. I think while they are the same mechanic, it's not like I'm playing the same game.
Yeah, different
I think they're both... If you like one, you should get the other. They'll go on the shelf together perfectly.
Like peanut butter and jelly. No, it's more like peanut butter and like just peanuts.
All right, so what's your number 5?
My number 5. I'm so scared. I feel like a lot of my games are like...
I'm very
People
curious.
are going to be like, all right, that's so like a casual game. My number 5 is Pictomania.
Interesting.
So,
because I'm just going to say that's my number 4.
Okay, well, there you go. That's good then. So
I mean, you literally, it's what I'm saying next. So I'm like,
so I'll start off and say the reason this is one of my favorite games of the year is I don't think there's another game where I laughed as hard while playing this.
No, that definitely solidified on my list. I think it was a game where I don't think we had such. No, this list definitely could easily shift at any moment.
Right.
That was the hardest part for me looking at this list, but. It was just one of those moments when every time we played it, especially with you. I think you and me. I think certain people in our group didn't like it as much.
Well, yeah.
Which is one of the reasons why I think I took it down. But it was just, we had moments like you had to draw like they. And just the hilarity of all these drawings and these moments.
The reactions of people when you say that what it's supposed to be and the incredulous responses. They create hilarious memories.
And what's great about it, though, is when playing it, it wasn't just, oh, we're doing charades, it's just something funny. There's actually strategy, too.
Yeah, there is a game there.
And that's what I love about it. It still got those moments of when we're rolling on the floor laughing, but I wasn't brain dead like, okay, let's just do the funniest thing.
It's not Quelf. It's not just making you do goofy stuff for the sake of it.
Play the cards, which would make funniest to the judge or something.
Right. No, yeah. You laugh like genuinely because something funny happens naturally.
Like, for example, remember Neil's Betrayal House on the Hill, which he tried to make you guess which was just a house.
We were like, oh, what a pretty little house. That's so cute. Yeah, it's also made us very mad.
The fact that we're laughing now, and I think it's earned its place.
For sure. Vlada, who was a party game that he had another party game that came out this year. But anyway, so that's my number 5 and your number 4.
Yeah,
so I guess now I'll go back to my number 4. My number 4.
Yeah, your number 4. Because we talked about my number 4.
Right. All right.
It was so perfect. It's like, well,
good. We didn't plan this out at all.
Yeah, we should mention we don't know either's list.
No surprise.
Which is what actually they should have guessed that from the fact
they probably figured that out. So my number 4. Now this is a biggie. This is one of the ones I was very excited about to play from last year's Gen Con. Is Xcom. So that's my number 4. I'll say the reason it's that low on the list is mostly because when you boil down the mechanics, it is largely dependent on a lot of dice rolls, which can feel a little bit, after repeated plays, can be kind of feel frustrating and not super fun. But overall, the theme, the different roles, the way that the cooperation works in it were enough for me that I still really enjoy it, and it's something that we played a bunch of times. And I think just for the merit of the fact of how many times we have played it, compared to how rarely really these days we get to replay games that often, speaks to what a good game it is. So that's XCOM.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I think the dice thing is what definitely hit me a lot. Whether it's on this list or not.
Right.
But another thing, what I like about it is it was really one of the gateway games to really be like, look, we have apps, we have phones now.
Right.
This
I
is
didn't
something.
mention that. That's
and
the
I
cool
think
thing.
it's an important milestone at the very least, whether you like the game or not, to hopefully seeing what we could really pull out of board games.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. Yeah, it's definitely whether the game itself lasts on, it's like that milestone, like you said, that its legacy maybe will definitely carry forward into other things.
And I mean, I'm sure both of us, we've talked before of how many amazing ideas you could use if we take advantage of the apps.
And that's my number 4.
Yeah, that's your number
3.
So my number 3,
getting down to the good stuff,
is Ashes: Rise of the Phoenixborn. I played this a little bit more than you, and I just felt this game is really exciting. I'm looking forward to all the things they did. And more importantly, what I found that they did, which I don't think I found much compared to other card games, is the starting decks were just, like, I didn't feel like, well, now I gotta get 2 more starter sets, and if I want to make this, like, each deck really, I felt like hit the field in its prime, which I think is a very rare thing when you buy pre-made decks for any game.
Especially for like LCG style games like this, it feels more like a pre-built card game, like a standard card game in that sense.
And another thing I really loved about it is the time when we played, we did a big multiplayer game. It didn't feel like one of us was like, well, I'm just running across the field and destroying everyone. Like, there was a moment like, I got a head lead in the beginning, but all of a sudden then Neil got one spell in that wiped off my fort, and all of a sudden you came in and just like...
It's one of those games where there are moments for everybody where you thought like, oh, he's gonna win, I'm gonna lose.
The game ended up with me beating you, but I was like, looking back, I know there were like, if you did 2 things differently or something, you easily could have knocked me out. So I'm like, this game doesn't make me feel like...
Plus learning your decks more and experimenting, you can get better.
And especially what I also like though is teaching was not hard. Compared to like, remember when we tried to learn Netrunner?
Right, or Doomtown. No, we don't speak about that. Yeah.
Like, it wasn't, they didn't do too many confusing code words. You still got everything down.
And your deck is small, so it's manageable, and there's not a lot to keep track of on the field. It is definitely more efficient and streamlined, and also we like the dice thing for your energy. That's
actually
cool.
that is one of my biggest faults currently right now.
With the game.
Yes.
Okay.
Is that I can't buy extra dice separately. This mostly revolves around the fact that if we were to play a bigger game, this doesn't fit a lot more people.
Right.
That certain dice for certain natures, if two people pick the nature, the third deck that uses that nature can't be played. So I want more dice, so I have more choices. So I'm actually going to probably pick up a second starter set, even though I said like the deck's already perfect, because I have the promo to make a deck for that, and then I have the spares and extra dice. I mean, that's got to say something if I'm willing to pick up a second one that's not really needed.
Yeah, no, I think that did not make my list, spoiler alert. The only reason the main reason being just because I feel like, I haven't dived into it that much.
No, there's plenty of games I remember when I was judging my list, I was just like, I'll talk later.
Yeah, but definitely fun, and definitely the production value is there. It's Plaid Hat. It's really
Plaid Hat
good.
Constantly shines.
I feel like we say that every time it's a Plaid Hat game.
Well, there's certain companies that you know, and like I'm very excited to see what the 2 starter decks.
Oh, the expansions.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
As I said, with these decks holding such quality, like seeing a starter deck now, usually like from when I used to play Magic, I'm like, who gets a starter decks? They're terrible. Now this, I'm like, oh crud, it's a new starter deck.
Cool. It's just cool. It's a new character.
Yeah.
It's a new thing. All right, so that's Ash's Rise of the Phoenixborn. My number 3. I don't remember. I have to look. Okay. So I don't know. This may show up on your list or it may not. I think it's one we both like. No, my number 3 is Spectre Ops, Shadow of Babel, also from Plaid Hat. I actually forgot that. This was, I want to call it a stealth game. It's basically a team-based one versus all kind of game where one player is a stealthy agent. And similar to like Whitechapel that we've played or Escape from Aliens in Outer Space. And I think I really like this. Just something about first of all, the theme is cool, but it really, you felt like, even though we've had our debates about character powers being better or worse, I never felt really like there was too much of an advantage. Like it was, and just there's always this great thrill, like in most of those games, of hiding and being around a corner, and like someone goes right past you, and you're like, oh, he could have seen me.
No, I only have 2 spots like left, and whether it's on there or not, it's not.
Okay.
That really, actually, the character thing that's what put me off.
Oh, because you think that it's unbalanced?
It's like, not exactly. Like, if you play too much, I think there's a way to solve it. I don't know, but I definitely would put, if it did top 10, that would probably make it.
Right, sure.
I do think it was,
That's
like,
why we did top 5s,
I definitely think
everything
compared, like, Whitechapel, I think, is probably the closest relative that I could think of.
For sure.
And while both of them have it, some reason not Whitechapel, Spectre Ops, at least we've only done with the 3-player, we haven't done with the more.
That's true.
Definitely the going around and just sneaking by someone is definitely a lot more exciting.
I think that part of the difference, Whitechapel is definitely a lot more, it goes on a lot longer.
No, my difference is,
it's not as immediate.
No, I think to me Whitechapel is more like playing chess.
Yeah.
It's not,
Yeah. You feel like you are moving pieces around a board, like playing war.
It's strictly much more strategy. While Spectre Ops, or as I constantly used to call it, Spec Ops, I feel actually like I am the puppeteer, or I actually feel like I'm on the
You're hiding behind that corner. That is,
And I actually am thinking like I am standing there, and I will, if I see you, I will hunt you down. So I think it's especially if you have a smaller group, it's definitely the one to go for, because that 3-man game is perfect. Mm-hmm. And also, it's so funny looking back when we look at the sheets comparing, like where you ran
looking
compared
at
to
where you go and what they thought.
Yeah.
So that's Spectre Ops. Yeah, I feel like stealth games. That's my number 3. Number 2.
Yeah. Now number 2. This is the one I'm sure you saw coming from my list.
Okay. Yeah.
My number 2 is Cthulhu Wars. I just thought this. I've never felt like very few games have made me do this, in which when I play it, like when I played Spectre Ops, when I played a role for a character, once I was done, I was like, okay, I played that character. I'm done. I don't need to play as the puppeteer anymore. Like, I'm not excited to play him. Like, with Cthulhu Wars, every group, I played through everyone but Cthulhu, ironically. But each one I'm like, oh, I want to go back and play him. Oh, I want to try a different strategy. What if I did this? Like, Like, I'm dying to dive back into it. And I think if a game's pulling me in that much, that's got to say something. And then combined with the details, the fact that it's a Cthulhu game that makes me think more but doesn't last 8 hours, I think is a very important role. And then the fact that with all the maps we haven't played yet, I can't wait to get to try on, which actually changed the game. Like, one is the map freezes over, so then territory actually becomes much more tight. And then another one is actually sort of like it's on a planet, but sort of the reverse, you know how the seas connect everything? The craters are actually the seas. So it's more like Cthulhu's in a weird position since the seas aren't nearly as traverse.
Yeah, no,
So-
I mean, if we did our playback, and I think we both said like, there's really the only flaw with the game is the price point,
Right.
And the game
In
itself.
terms of just hard to jump into, not as much
Right.
of like it doesn't
but
earn that price.
it's hard to find too much to complain about with the game itself. I suppose there's like some there's dice
yes.
stuff, but I think it's
I don't think it's nearly as bad as
No.
some other games we can think of with
no
dice.
for sure.
And I definitely say if you're a Cthulhu fan, this definitely is like something you should look into. Like if you love Lovecraft, I mean, the statues in it alone will look amazing on like your shelf or
I
something.
gotta be honest. I'm like, maybe I should have said Cthulhu Wars instead of XCOM. I don't know. I don't know. It is not on my list. It was a runner-up.
Like I said, with mine, which I've said anytime I make a list, I'll make a list and be like, oh wait. Like the list
Yeah.
always will shift like
Like,
within minutes.
It would definitely be like number 6, I think, on mine. It's up there. I do think it's a great game for sure. Now I definitely think I think one of my top 2 is definitely your number 1.
I'd hope so. I'm really gonna be disappointed if it's not.
I'm pretty sure. I don't know.
Okay,
You
what's
made
your
me
number 2?
surprised. You made me surprised.
No, I don't care
Or
which
not.
one it is, as long as it's on there. I'm gonna be really shocked if it's not.
Then I think we're probably talking about the same one. This is a great conversation. My number 2, shocking perhaps to you and perhaps the audience members or not.
All right.
I said is Time Stories.
I want to talk about that,
Okay, well,
but I'm gonna wait until you finish yours.
so I have Time Stories, which is I think basically the other game besides Pandemic Legacy that's topping everybody's list this year. And it is, as we played it, we made the comparison basically to a point-and-click adventure game, or in board game realm, closest we could think of to something like Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective, where it's cooperative, you're solving puzzles, you're traveling around, you're talking to people. Very thematic, very not Euro-y at all. And to me, my favorite kind of game is an adventure game. I love Sherlock Holmes. I love solving puzzles and talking to people and exploring strange locations. And it gave me that same sensation of my favorite point-and-click games where in between play sessions, I'm thinking like, oh, what are we next time? Like, and you said when we play, like, oh, I just want to play it again because we would lose. And then it's like, oh, if we found this key first, or we didn't check that room out, what if we talked to that person again? And it really is this great mystery and really cool settings, and the format is really unique. It really is hard to compare it to really any other board games out there. So for those reasons, I think it's worthy. The downside is the replayability factor, which could be debated, but as a game, as an experience that I had with it, it's my number 2.
So it's not on my list. However,
Okay.
it would have likely, because of the one reason which I'll get to, actually probably been in number 2 or 3.
And do you want to say why
Yeah.
now?
The reason why I didn't put it there is because we haven't finished, so to speak,
Right.
the scenario. And I want to know what it
We have
feels
yet
like.
to win.
Yes. I want to know what that feels like first, but I couldn't agree with you more. Like I said, this game, every time I was just like, oh, I got to go back in.
I definitely...
No, I think, like, at first, when I first heard about it, I'm like, oh, we're going to play, like, for an hour and finish it. Why it costs so much to cost the next minute? I don't feel like that now. I feel like that first story, I'm still excited to go in it. I would, you know what, even if we already beat it, like, solve the mystery and everything, I'd want to play this with other people. The story is so exciting, so interesting.
It really does feel like it's like, oh, let's go back to that other room and see what's there.
And not even that. I feel like
like
what I'm gonna want to do is when we
Yeah.
play through, like, okay, we did this. now do you think we can do it this way?
Right.
Like I said, we
already
like I want to know if we can beat it in the first.
Yeah, we've already found like at least
lot.
multiple pathways to at least a certain place. But at the same time, it feels like there's this whole mystery that we've only scratched the surface of.
Yeah, no. This is
that's
definitely
what,
that's what I'm saying. It didn't make it, but I would argue that honestly it would make my list.
No, part of me felt like
hearing you say it actually made me really happy because I'm like,
you want to represent it. Yeah, I do feel like maybe I'm jumping the gun a little, but I went with my heart on this one, and I was like, you know what,
well, this is perfect. You don't have to feel bad now because I felt the same way, but I didn't go with my heart on it.
Right.
So we were like, we covered all our bases.
Now I feel pretty confident then after that I think we have the same number one.
What is your
choice.
number one?
Well,
Okay,
I already said mine, so
Fine.
yours.
My
comes
number one
first.
is Mysterium.
So is mine.
Yes, all right. We agreed. I like that. We got two. We both agreed, and then one. Wow, I like this.
That's pretty good.
I was really feeling like, oh God, this is gonna be so different. But I feel like we actually were on point.
Pretty much. So talk about Mysterium because it's your turn.
I mean, it hits. I never feel bad about losing. It's such a fun mystery game to play with people. I mean, when we did the video, we had Mark's girlfriend join us, and she's never played before, and she loved it. I mean, every time we bring it out, it's exciting, and that was before we got the American version.
Right. Yeah, which I mean, if you watched our video, the components, the atmosphere of it.
Do you remember?
Incredible.
I mean, like I mentioned in the video, like when you opened that, I was just like, oh, it's fine. He got the what?
Yeah.
What?
No, it's
I feel
stunning.
like it's just the game. I would always be. It's one of those, like I said, with a lot of the games on these lists that I put on this list, and Time Stories, which I said almost, are games that if they hit the table, I'm gonna be at that table.
And the difference between this and Time Stories is Time Stories, you will reach a point where you've played that story enough times. Mysterium, not really. You're
no, with the dream interpreting, it just because that I feel like that is hit. Like going through my list, Operation Faust, it has the hidden factor because the guy behind the screen doesn't know anything, and you don't know what he knows. So there's definitely a sort of like, oh, what does he have? Like, who's the murderer? Like,
you mean Mysterium?
Yeah, Mysterium.
Okay.
Like Pictomania, there are the moments when we were just laughing our heads off and finding out about what the dream is and what he's interpreting. I mean, Ashes, it has everything. The components in it are amazing. Cthulhu Wars, I want to play both sides. I want to go back and forth again for both of them. I want to play the guy behind the dreams, and I want to play the guesser again.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hit everything. It has every point I said that was great about all the other games.
Yeah. No, yeah, for sure. I definitely, my list this year is definitely the games that are the most fun. I don't know, I was a little, let's first go back to Mysterium. Yeah, I mean, like you said, like every time we played it, and when we did play it, usually we'd like play it again, like the next day or the next hour, because it really does not get tired for me. It's just, there's something about it. And the fact that we have the Dixit cards we could mix in, and I'm sure there's going to be future expansions that extend the life of it.
I mean,
it's something that I think will just last forever, and you can use it with any group, any age really can play it.
Right.
You don't even need to speak English necessarily to play it.
We were playing the Polish version.
Yeah, exactly. It's just an example of taking kind of this existing thing, which I would say is Dixit, and springboarding it to something just even better.
Rocketing it.
Yeah, something just great and fantastic and original.
No, that's why I said, like, you better have this in your top two, because I'm going to be a little...
I was pretty sure. So, yeah, I don't know, I've thought, like, 'cause my list seems so, I thought, like, almost like party-oriented, thematic-oriented,
I mean,
but
for
not as
mine,
much.
two of them were very party. I'd say Mysterium and Pictomania. Operation's like a little bit farther, and then you have Ashes and Cthulhu Wars.
Yeah, which are...
And I think one of the reasons is a lot of times when I hit a strategy game, most strategy games, it's like, okay, I played the strategy. Like, it's just stressful and just, like, it may be fun, like, but not enough that I want to put it on again because it's stress. Most of these games, like I said, have made me dying to want to go back to the table.
Our criteria is basically, what do I want to play again and again and again, which is, I think, what it should be. Absolutely.
I mean, and I understand everyone's going to have their own list.
Yeah.
But these games are all ones I'm really excited about, and I like Cthulhu Wars. I bring that huge box every time we have the game at your place, and even though I'm like, there's like a 5% chance that it's gonna happen or something, but
It could happen, just to be safe. All right, let's talk runner-ups.
well, I already talked about Time Stories,
Okay.
which frankly I think isn't really a runner-up.
It's a bonus.
Yeah, I think two games I want to cover for the same reason.
Okay.
Are both from Tasty Minstrel, are Flip City and Cthulhu Realms. Because you haven't played Flip City, but I have, and both of them. What both of them did, I really applaud Tasty Minstrel for this, is for a deck building game, they're very different from their cousins. And in fact, I like Cthulhu Realms, for example, which works a little bit better. Flip City, actually, I'll explain a little bit later, but like the rules for that, I want to bring to other deck building games. Like, I just thought those are just such clever, interesting ideas.
And so why didn't they make your actual list? Just because they're better games?
Well, like Cthulhu Realms, I felt like I've played enough of. Like, I want to try the rules with the other things, but, like, compared to these other ones, they're going to come. Flip City, I just haven't played enough. And that's why. But what that one is, in essence, what they did in that one is your deck actually has two sides, each card. So you actually have to pay attention to what side is on. And you can either buy a card from the center, so like Dominion, or you can flip a card over in your deck. But you don't get a hand. You play top deck. And certain cards you are forced to play, and you've played too much Sadness, your turn automatically ends. So it's a fun, like, Russian roulette top deck game of, like, strategy building your deck game so you don't have as much, like, the bad bullet as much.
Yeah,
It's really...
That's a twist.
Yeah, it's actually really fun. And that's why I was like, for deck building, I was like, this is different. I actually want to play, like, I need to play more.
Yeah, that's always refreshing. Did you have any other?
That's why I really want to teach you it when we get a chance. But, well, Ghostbusters is the obvious easy one.
Right. Just get to play it.
I know there's one probably on yours, so I'm not going to say it.
Okay, yeah, I probably noticed.
But another one is, like I said, a lot of Kickstarters came in. I felt so bad. In particular, the one that literally came in like 2 or 3 days ago was Posthuman. And this is one I'm really excited about because it's a wandering to like a safe location, but like you draw tiles and you have to decide whether you risk going into the city for supplies or take the longer route, like through maybe a safer forest. And I'm like, this is really exciting. I just haven't had the chance to.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, come on. We can roll that over to 2016. Yeah. Mine, I had, I said Cthulhu Wars. Codenames, is that the one you were alluding to, or no?
No, that was not. I'll get to the one where.
Which I really like Codenames. I think maybe the reason that it didn't make my list was it kind of reminded me of, like, you know, it's sort of like a game in the vein of Concept or something like that, and I feel like Concept already, for me, did it a lot better. I really liked it, but, you know, there's plenty of guessing games. It just didn't light my fire the same way that other ones did.
To me, it didn't make my list because in terms of guessing, Pictomania did that
That
better.
too. That too, and they're both the
Yes.
Savlata games. Although, don't get me wrong, Codenames is a game that we played it 4 times in a row. You know,
Yeah. We shuffled to every position.
Another similar one, Spyfall, didn't make the list.
That one didn't make my list because I was disappointed. Oh, I remember another one that didn't make my list, but because I just felt when we played the 4-person game.
Yeah,
that's what I think.
The reasons that didn't make my list were, number one, like you said, number of players, very dependent.
Yeah, I felt so bad. You got
well, and number two, I do often get frustrated either with
really dumb
other players
Yeah.
asking questions badly or not answering questions correctly when I know there's something. And then also when a lot of times when I'm the spy, sometimes I'm just frustrated and sometimes I'm not having fun.
I couldn't agree with you more. The problem is it's very high points, but it has some very one of the ones I just remembered.
Yeah.
It's more because it's probably like I enjoy it, but I don't think it's a top 10 is Dark Stories.
That was actually the next one on my list. Actually, the reason it's not on my list is because I almost don't even think it's really counts as a board game.
No, that's why I didn't feel like I enjoy it. I love doing it.
Because otherwise, in terms of fun factor, it would have been maybe like 6 or 7 or 8. But Yeah, I almost don't think it counts, but it's like an honorable mention.
Yeah, and I actually really want to get. They have a second one, but the one I want to get is actually one based on actual crimes.
Yeah.
Which after seeing some of the dark stories, I'm like, oh boy, where they literally just like, all right, Florida, come here, we need all your stories.
Actually, it's funny to compare that. Compares with Time stories, Dark Stories. They're both like but that's a guessing game in case people don't know. It's like 20 questions sort of, with murders. And the only other one I had, which is purely because
this might be the one that
we only played it once, and I just like to play it more.
That's not the one. I thought.
Is Rattle Battle Grab the Loot,
that almost made my list.
which I liked a lot, but we didn't. Just didn't
no,
get to
I
play
agree.
enough.
That was one of the things. The one I thought was going to be on your list.
Yeah, I'm so
it was,
curious.
Versus.
Oh, well, because I feel like we didn't even get to play it. Like, we played it like once, so I can't.
We should have noted.
That's
I
fine.
forgot, and it's too late at the end. We also wanted to focus strictly on bases, so no expansions or anything.
Right.
Like, for example, the legendary Secret Wars,
or
which
anything like that.
which I do think is probably one of the best legendary
Although,
expansions.
I think last year Guardians of the Galaxy was on my list.
Well, we're sharpening now.
Yeah, but I think we can definitely. I think it's a consensus that if there's a Roll for Crit game of the year, then it is Mysterium.
No question. I think that would fit on anyone's shelf. If you haven't played it, I feel so sorry for you. If you didn't get it for Christmas, then I think you need to talk to your friends.
Last year, I think top picks were Sheriff of Nottingham, Dead of Winter, and Dice Masters was in there on my list at least. I don't remember.
Looking back on those games, I think I prefer a lot more of the games we said here on this list.
Yeah, I think I might agree.
I definitely would say Mysterium. I enjoy a lot more.
Yeah.
Which is funny because I'm also thinking about comparing how we talked about last year's winners for the Spiel des Jahres and nominees compared to this year's.
Right.
And how we said we liked last year's more than this year's.
There were. Honestly, it wasn't as hard as I thought it would be to narrow down my list for this year.
No, I got like 4.
Yeah.
Like, I think for mine, it was really the first 4 were the ones that got on there. And like, I was like, I don't really want to put Time Story. Like, I didn't, like, I love it, but I don't feel. But then I was like, Operation Fast. I'm like, oh yes, that's 2015.
I think that for last year for me, that was Dead of Winter was my Time Story. Where I was like, I want to put it on, but I don't think I should.
I mean, that one would be close compared to these. When I said like, I think these, because that one I do want to play more and I enjoy it, especially with the app we got to do.
Yeah.
But no, I just feel like these games, like I said, each one brought something that makes me just like drooling to see back on the table.
And there's a lot more we could say we didn't get chances to play. Like I said, Seven Wonders Duel, Fury of Dracula,
which is one I actually really do want to play. I did play. I should mention this one. I actually have played a full game, so this one was actually in consideration. Samurais
and Mission Red Planet, right?
Yeah. Well, I played a little bit, and that one I'm actually a little angry about. Not the game, but because playing the little bit of version was actually felt like I was cheated. Not like playing with other people, but like the game obviously doesn't feel like it can be cut down to the 3 turns they gave you. But Samurai, when I played a full game, it was a lot of fun. I really did enjoy like doing the match, but like I said, these other games just
definitely not a lot of Euro games on our list.
We're probably
you can tell our preferences pretty. Yeah, but anyway, we would love to hear what the people at home have on their list.
Prepare your angry comments.
What did we leave off that had to be on there, or what did we say that you think is just a terrible, terrible game?
Now remember, there's a chance we did not play them, so don't assume that we just thought it was a bad.
Right. Well,
like we said, Pandemic Legacy we did not play.
We'd love to. We'll read your comments on the air. You can leave them right here on YouTube or on our website, or you could email us directly at rollforcrit@gmail.com.
And of course, there's Twitter at rollforcrit and our personal Twitter accounts.
And then there's our website.
Yeah.
rollforcrit.com.
Where we sell a lot of these games if they're still in stock. We post all our news, all these videos. And of course, we should mention this is our last video for the year. And if you're worried that we didn't read any of your comments from previous, we're actually going to read all of these comments from this and the last one during the beginning of the year. So starting out fresh with all your viewer mail.
So we hope everybody had a good year. It's been a pretty good busy roll for crit year, and hopefully everybody had good holidays and got board games to play with.
You did, and we'll talk about that next
Yeah,
year.
let us know also what you guys picked up. And
Yeah, I would love to hear whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe someone out there did get that pandemic legacy.
There you go. Yeah, it'll be fun. So it's been a good year, and now that the crazy holidays are over, Star Wars month is over, we're gonna start getting back to normal podcast news, playbacks, the same kind of schedule we.
But the
usually
question
have.
is, are we truly done with Star Wars games?
Oh, good. Who knows? Maybe not. Probably not.
You'll find out when we reveal what he got for Christmas.
There's a tease if I've ever heard one.
But it's not what you're thinking.
So until we catch you on the flip side, in the next year, 2016, I'm Jonathan Estes.
I'm Will Keeler, and
And this
is...
has been. I'm saying unanimous.
Oh, fine. All right.
In
Sorry.
unison.
You scared me for a second.
Hey, I've been watching. That's creepy.
Yep.
The Roll for Crit podcast.